So today in our career series, we have Kanak Chandramogan. He has almost a decade plus experience and currently is working in Vistara as a trainer, as management pilot as well, and prior to that in Indigo as well. So welcome Chandramogan.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me to this series, and I'm really happy to be part of this. Thank you. I was from the time that I can remember about, I've always been interested in planes. It was not just flying as a pilot, but it was always about aircrafts. There was always an interest. One of the main reasons for that was that my dad has worked for an airline. He has worked for Oman Airlines. He was a ground staff with them. So he's done about 10-year stint with them. So he had a lot of stories that he used to. So by the time I was born, he was back. He never worked with them by the time I was born. But he always had his stories about airports, what he used to do, his work, how the planes fly, his interaction with pilots, So all these stories are some of the stories that I used to hear growing up. So there was always a fascination for it. I hail from a very small town, so initially I know it was never. I never thought that I'm going to be able to chase it, or it was not kind of within my reach. But the fascination was always there, just like how a young boy is, right? Most of the young boys and nowadays girls also, they are fascinated by cars, bikes, vehicles as such. So this is one of them. So the fascination was always there. So I think, that's from where it started. I started taking it seriously somewhere when I was in 11th standard. That is when I kind of realized that this is something I would really like to pursue going forward. So somewhere in the middle of 11th is when I started researching more about it. As such, I didn't know any pilots, right? So this is sometime in 2004, 2005, and the kind of the social networking was also not that great, right? So I didn't really have access to a lot of people in the industry. So it was more about researching, going to an internet cafe, researching in Google. After my 12th, I had zeroed in on a college in Sydney. So after my 12th, 10 plus 2 is the minimum requirement to start training to be a pilot, right? So I zeroed in a college in Sydney, which is called Basser Aviation College. Which is where after my 12th, I went there, I took admission there, and I went there, and I started in 2006 after my 12th in October. So by October 2006, I moved to there for my training, The best one in India, it's always been an institute called IGRUA, IGRUA. People call it IGRUA, right? So this is in Raebareli in Uttar Pradesh. So this is a government institute. So this is like, to put it into context, this is like an IIT of engineering, right? Okay. Yeah. So this is so it has an entrance exam, a central entrance exam, which you have to write, and I think maybe now it has 40 to 60 seats, or maybe a little more, maybe 100 seats by now, something down there, So the top, whoever writes the exam, and the top 100 people get into that institute. And there used to be scholarships earlier. I'm not really sure how they run it now. Earlier, how it used to be was the top 10 people are kind of guaranteed a job in Air India. So the top, whoever passed on IGRUA used to go to Air India. And being an IGRUAN was like how you say I'm an IITian, right? In engineering terms. So that it used to be like that. So now there are other institutes which have come up, there is one called CAE. So CAE in Gondia, it's somewhere in near Nagpur. Okay. So CAE is one of the major aviation training school across the world. So they have institutes across the world in US, Europe, everywhere. Singapore, everywhere they have. So in the last 6-7 years, they have started in India, and they've expanded with a couple of centers now for different kinds of training. So they have a basic commercial pilot training, CPL training happening now in Gondia. So that is also pretty good. In addition, there are a lot of other places also in states like Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh. There are different schools, which are pretty good. But this two would be the top, still the top two. Flying training as such is, or it's not time based. You don't have to do so many years. It's about finishing finishing what you're required to be done, right? So there is a program. The overall program is, let's say, to get a CPL license, you need to do 200 hours of flying. Okay, let's say. So it varies between country to country. Like Australia says 150, India says 200, 220 at times. So it varies somewhere down there. So it's all about finishing that many hours of flying, and there are a specific number of exams that you have to take. So these exams are done by the government or the aviation authority. So again, different countries have different number of exams. Like Australia has 9 exams, New Zealand has 15 exams, India has 3 or 4, or maybe there are different ways to do it. So 6, 7, something like that. So it's about how soon you can finish it. So it's completely up to the individual what pace you want to go ahead with your training. So on an average, in a country like Australia, it takes somewhere between 1 year to 2 years to finish the program. I finished it in 1 year. In Australian standard is pretty fast. But if you go to a country like, let's say, US or Philippines, you can do it even faster. The people have done it in 7 months, 8 months. So they kind of prepare. They have already studied the subjects in India. They just go there and give the exams and quickly finish the flying hours, right? So a lot of people, who had kind of the background about how to go about it, have done that also. So it varies a lot from where you do it. I would say, right? So when I did my training, my course in Australia costed me around 20 lakhs.
Okay.
That was back in 2006, right? 2006. So things have changed now. So the major issue now is a job guarantee, right? So you're doing a training, you're spending a lot of money on this, and you need to have an ROI. So there are different institutes offering different ROIs, right? So if you go and do just a CPL, commercial pilot license right now, it would cost you somewhere between, let's say, 30 lakhs to 50 lakhs. Okay, so that is what it is stands like now, right now. However, there are institutes like CAE in Gondia, in Nagpur. They have tied up with Indigo Airlines, right? So Indigo, and they offer a cadet pilot program. So there is a proper selection process for it. So if you get selected through exams, and if you get into that program, there's a job guarantee. So the moment you finish the training, you are going to start with Indigo, right? So there is a confirmed job opportunity with that, but that comes expensive. So that includes the basic training plus your type rating on the jet aircraft, which the airlines use, the bigger aircrafts. So that costs additional. So the entire package comes to somewhere around 75-80 lakhs. Yeah, so that is that kind of package. Otherwise, you can go outside to countries like Australia, Philippines, US. So again, they vary. Philippines and all would be one of the cheapest place that you can do. It will still work out to 35 lakhs, including your stay, everything. Yeah, Australia would be a little more expensive because, how the dollar prices are going up, everything, yeah. So it will be a little more expensive. So that is kind of an idea about how the expensive. Again, there used to be a golden period in aviation when, salaries compared to other jobs were a lot different. Those days are gone because, there are so many institutes which have come up, and all these things. So right now, you start in an airline as a junior first officer, right? So as a junior first officer, you will probably start at something like 60,000 in hand. That is where you start. But what happens mostly is people have spent a lot of money, so the ROI is not that great initially. But as you progress to a first officer, then you become a senior first officer, the salaries start going up pretty much like 2x, 3x, 4x, like that. So as a senior first officer, you will be making close to 3 lakhs gross, as 3 lakhs per month gross. Then you become a captain, then it's a significant jump where your salary goes up to, it depends on airlines also, I would say. In Indian condition right now, the salaries would be somewhere between 5 to 6.5 lakhs gross, right? But abroad, the salaries are pretty much higher, especially in the Middle Eastern carriers. So the salaries are somewhere, let's say something between 50,000 to 75,000 dirhams, which is kind of money they make, including all the allowances, everything. So these are all pre-COVID times that I'm talking about. Yeah. So COVID has really changed, especially I would say aviation as such. It's really changed the industry completely. There's a lot of pay cuts happening. The pay cuts are around 40 to 70% pay cut, which is what we are looking at right now. So I hope the industry recovers and we all go back to our previous salaries. Yeah. So there is a major medical test that you do initially before you start your training. Basically, it's called a Class 1 medical. So there's 3 different classes. There's one Class 1, Class 2, Class 3 medical certificates that you have to obtain. So Class 1 is the highest, which is the minimum you need to obtain a commercial pilot license. So you have to do that medical test, which is a little rigorous test in which they check all your they check all your organs, how they are doing. They check your heart, they check your blood sugar, pressure, cholesterol levels. They do a TMT test, they do a EEG, ECG, all kind of liver function test, everything. With that, you get your Class 1 certificate, and then every year you have to do a renewal. So you have this validity of this certificate is only for 1 year, right? So every year you do a renewal for this. So renewal comes up with it's a smaller test with it has lesser test, but it still checks all your vitals for sure, plus some additional like ECG after a couple of years, EEG, liver function test, and any additional test if you're overweight for, let's say. So they have a specific height to weight ratio that they maintain. So anytime you are above 25 BMI, you have to do some additional tests. If you are above 30 BMI, you have to do some more additional tests like that. So you have to keep doing this test, and again after every 5 years, so there are different ways, different things. So after 5 years, at the age of 25, you have to do a bigger test. At the age of 40, you have to do another bigger test, like that. So you're maintaining a medical current is something which is pretty important in this job. Yeah. It's always a challenge for any pilot to land the aircraft in heavy rain, foggy conditions in Delhi. I'm sure in December, Jan, it gets, you can't even see the car in front of you, so you have to find the runway and go and land. So that gets challenging at times. Flying to new places are sometimes challenging. It's snowing, abroad if you go to some places. So one day you'll be flying to a place which is snowing. Next day you'll be flying to somewhere in Egypt where it's like close to 50 degrees, right? So it's challenging that way. Yeah. We go through recurrent trainings. That's what we call every 3 to 6 months. So we go back to simulator. So simulator is basically where we simulate all the emergencies, right? So it could be smoke, fire in the aircraft. It could be hydraulic failure where the tires don't come out. It could be engine failures. It could be the other pilot having a heart attack. It could be the systems failing, so you don't know where you're flying to. So we go every 3 months to 6 months. We simulate them in a simulator. So in the simulator, we have thrown these situations to us. So and then we have to handle them and show. So there's an examiner or an instructor watching you, and they grade us. So only if we are able to do them properly as per we call them SOPs, right? Standard operating procedures. So if you follow them properly, and only if you're able to handle it, then we get certified to again fly for the next 3 to 6 months, right? So it's a continuous process which happens. So anytime, so we all trained to do this in a simulator. So the moment it gets little challenging to, the moment the real flight throws a little bit of challenge to you, right? So then you feel that, okay, so this is what I've been paid for. This is what I'm trained to do as a pilot. So that's some of the examples that I said, right? So it could be landing in heavy rain, which is at times not that easy because there's a lot of visual illusions. It's difficult to spot the runway. You need to be very concentrated and disciplined in your procedures to come back and land in heavy rain. Crosswinds, it will be very windy. Having an smaller emergency, like let's say a lavatory smoke. So there is a smoke which is coming in the lavatory. So it could be as small as somebody went in the lavatory and had a smoke, right? So you are not allowed to do it, but there are smoke detectors which detects it as smoke. So it might not be anything major, but for me, it is a smoke. I will still have to handle it as smoke. I have a set of SOPs now I have to handle them. So those are the times when you have to really, go back to your books. Go back to your training, and that training instance kicks in, and so that's when you feel that you are doing something that you have been trained and paid for. Yeah. Yeah, so you join an airline as something like a junior first officer. Some airlines call it a second officer, where you are assisting mostly the captain and sometimes the first officer also. If it's a 3-crew environment, then you are assisting both the captain and first officer. So captain is he is the head of the aircraft. He has the complete authority legally also. He can even arrest a passenger legally in an aircraft. So the moment the flight departs, the captain has authority to do that. He's responsible legally for everybody in the aircraft. So you start as a junior first officer, then you move to a first officer rank. First officer is basically a second in command. So if something happens to the captain, then the first officer is the second in command. So he takes over the aircraft. So in a normal situation, he assists the captain in all the duties that has to be done. So from a first officer, you become a captain. You get upgraded to a captain. And once you're a captain, there are 2 different streams, like how you have, even in engineering, I would guess that you have a management stream and you have a technical stream, right? So once you're a captain, again, you have 2 different streams generally, you can say. So one is you can become a trainer. So you can start training pilots. In that also there are different ranks, right? So there is an instructor level, there are a couple of levels of instructors, and then there is an examiner. So the examiner is basically the one who gives you the license. So he can sign the paper to give you the license. So that is the highest rank as a trainer, being an examiner. In the management side, again, then there are different options. You can be a management pilot, you can be an assistant chief pilot, you can be a chief pilot, vice president, which is somewhere where you top as a pilot manager, right? So you head the flight operations department if you are the VP flight ops. So that would most probably be a pilot. For the young aspirants who want to be a pilot, I would just tell them that stay strong. The industry is going through a lot of turmoil right now. It's looking really bad right now with a capacity reduction of up to 80%. Across the world. And most of the airlines are not doing that great across the world. Across the world, I would say, be it Singapore, be it US, Europe, all the airlines are not doing that great. Only China is apparently doing good. So they are almost back to the pre-COVID levels. Then, in fact, domestic market is crossed the pre-COVID level also. So the market is bad. So you will, if you're really interested in becoming a pilot, of course, it's going to be really challenging for you. to finally achieve your goals and dreams. However, I would say stay strong, be dedicated to it, be disciplined, and if you really want to chase down something, I strongly believe that you can. So keep chasing your dreams, don't give it up, and give your best. Yeah, that's it.